You are about to enter a great adventure.
This is Strutting from Gorilla.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Strutting from Gorilla. I am Mikey Cash, and with me is Mike Sarge Riley. Obviously, Big Vito is not here with us today. He is on vacation in a much warmer climate than the Northeast, so we all hate him, but we miss him. And Vito, we love you. Hopefully, we'll see you the next time. We got a lot to cover in this episode, Mike. I feel like it's hard to really to know where to start here, but I feel like when we first had this episode on the books, we were gonna have it was just gonna be straight up Rumble preview because there's a lot happening for the Rumble, a lot to be excited about. But this past week, there's been, I think, a plethora of kind of blockbuster wrestling news, both good and bad, quite honestly. And I think we would be remiss, Mike, if we didn't start off with kind of I think the very obvious one of what the fuck is Vince doing?
Yeah, very, very bizarre stuff here, Mike. No hiding behind it. First of all, good to be with you. Thank you so much for having me here today and rocking and rolling into the Royal Rumble. But just a huge week in pro wrestling and reading not the whole article from the Wall Street Journal there of Vince's sex trafficking and allegations and so forth, but not a good look for Vince McMahon. This is similar to what came out a couple of years ago when he did resign from the WWE, the chair. And that is when Stephanie jumped in and took over and Vince, quote unquote, retired. As we know, he did make his way back and, did sell the company less than a year ago and, partners with UFC and becoming the TKO there. What's interesting here in this situation is that Vince is no longer the boss, Mike. He is the executive chairman of the board, but he still reports to Ari Emanuel. And TKO today came out with the statement saying that they are aware of the situation and they take these allegations seriously. Of course, it's a PR thing. They had to do that. But the look here for Vince McMahon is not good at all. The situation where, I mean, go read the details, folks. Mike and I aren't going to rehash it word for word for you, but some of the things in there with the doing some disrespectful things with feces, if you will, and pleasuring himself from that, and also using a female for sex trafficking, along with John Laurinaitis, and they're not a good public relations look and not a good look in general at all for Vince, but just PR nightmare for him and his family. And we definitely knew that him and Linda had been separated for quite some time. I cannot see them getting back anytime soon after this.
No, I don't see that either. I'm not sure how you sort of come back from this. And it makes me think of, I think it was just last year it was last year, the year before when he first stepped down, there was all of those reports about sexual misconduct. Also, Laurinaitis was named in that. And there was all it was all the NDAs and so like that was the deal at that point. And now you have these allegations again. And I know that there's probably some people out there that are saying, well, you're innocent until proven guilty. These are just allegations. We don't really know anything. But maybe you could get benefit of the doubt for some people. But when you've already had this kind of history, it's hard to look at that and not think there's something going on here. What is everybody making up?
Well, and you talk about 2022, Mike, and that was the report there. The Wall Street Journal also had that one there where he agreed to pay more than $12 million to four women as essential hush money, if you remember that term there, right? And it's just a track record here. I'm reading an excerpt from the article. This is from CBS News, if I may, Mike. The lawsuit filed Thursday in a Connecticut federal court alleges Janelle Grant, former employee in WWE, pressured into having sex with Vince McMahon and other WWE employees in exchange for her job. Grant alleges that McMahon pushed her for a sexual relationship in exchange for the job and soon greeted her in his underwear touched her, repeatedly asked for hugs, and spent hours sharing intimate details about his personal life. Another excerpt from it there, recruited individuals to have sexual relations with Miss Grant, including WWE employees. And that is where one of them, a part of that there, is Mr. John Laurinaitis. He is part of that other WWE employees right there. 67-page lawsuit, Mike, filed in Connecticut court. The details, as we mentioned, sorry to laugh, but yeah, it's disgusting. Mike, as we know, there are three sides to every story: his, hers, and the truth. I'm sure there's a little bit of everything in there, but in the end, when you're a big figure like that there with Vince McMahon, not good.
Not good at all. And honestly, it's horrific, all of it, really. I mean, there's no other word to kind of describe that. I mean, people, again, we don't need to go into full-on details about everything that this guy was doing with her, but not with her, to her, what he did to her. It's awful. And so I think people can go online. You could go on. I mean, there's screenshots of it all over the social media. So like, you should check it out. But honestly, like, be warned, because some of it is really rough stuff, and it's really awful. And there's so much detail. There's screenshots of text exchanges. When you look through it, there's so much there. It's hard to imagine that something like this is really made up. And when you kind of just taking a step back, even just from what he's doing, also looking at the timing of all of this, I wonder about, The Rock. It was sort of announced as a board member of TKO just a day or two prior to this Wall Street Journal article dropping. And, I kind of found myself wondering, like, about the timing of it. Like, it's not to put on the tinfoil hat, but you always are wondering, well, what did they know about this article coming down the pike? Did somebody kind of tip them off and say, hey, this is coming, and so you need to really prepare yourself for it? And it feels like there's that HBO show Succession. Like, this feels like straight out of a season of that show, right? And it would be fucking bonkers if this was, except that this is actually really happening. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I wonder what Rock being put on the board of directors means for Vince's place also on that board, because I was reading somewhere that the ratio was supposed to always have like Endeavor as the having 6 spots, WWE with 5, and now with Rock there it's 6. So you kind of wonder, are they preparing so that one of those is going to go so they can keep the bit like that sort of ratio, and Vince is the guy that you sacrifice?
Well, I mean, he could be the guy to sacrifice. That makes sense. Definitely onto something there, Mike. And also, again, back to, I think the theme of this so far, from what I've said, is PR, public relations. The Rock is a likable guy. He is he's a well-liked figure. He's a universal figure, no doubt. And if that is the case, I think you're onto something. That if Vince is to leave the board of directors, easy insert there with The Rock, likable guy, smiles. He's got his name brand back, owned under him. The Rock, he's allowed to use that. Doesn't have to say Dwayne The Rock Johnson anymore. So it definitely makes perfect sense, no doubt. Just to go back to Vince real quick, if you don't mind, Mike, on one thing here. You're just reading right here a major allegation here that Janelle Grant was used as a sexual pawn to entice an unnamed wrestler, called WWE superstar in the lawsuit to sign a new contract. In December 2021, McMahon gave Miss Grant's personal cell phone number to this unnamed WWE superstar and promised she'll do anything requested of her. In the days that followed, the superstar revealed a fetish to Miss Grant and tested McMahon's promise that Miss Grant would do anything with the request that she send a video of herself urinating.
It's
bizarre.
It's truly disgusting. It's disgusting.
It really is. It's awful. And then the real one here that, I mean, not that this stuff was not gross to hear, but this is really disturbing. Not that this was not disturbing, but the real one that I'm really disturbed by. June 2021, when she arrived at work, the pair, Laurinaitis and Vince, brought her into Laurinaitis' office and allegedly assaulted her, despite Grant saying no and please stop. The lawsuit claims that McMahon responded, "No means yes."
You hear that and it sounds like him. You can
Kind of
hear him
does.
saying it. You can
Yeah.
hear him saying it, and that's where I think he's not only damned in the court of public opinion, but perhaps in the court of law as well. So
Yeah.
I at least, honestly, I kind of hope so. I mean, this guy, what the fuck, Vince? I mean, it's
Yeah.
like he had all of this greatness with wrestling and what he's done for the business, and then like this shit. What are
Yeah.
you doing?
It's
And
disgusting.
it's this bigger issue of like people sort of probably similar to his position where they feel untouchable. There's
Yep.
that power that he's developed over the years, and to sort of be so brazen about it, right? You don't even feel like you have anything to hide. That's the fucked up part, is he didn't even feel like he needed to hide those. Like he's doing iPhone messages. This guy, you look at, people can find it online. There's screenshots of it. Like he's not doing anything. Like he's not on some sort of like encrypted secure messaging, nothing like that. He's going, doesn't matter to him because he feels untouchable. And that's the problem with guys like that. They have way too much power and they think they're bigger than the system. And quite frankly, he has been for some time. He's got a couple of buddies. We don't need to name names, but we know a few that not great association.
Well, just go Google even Steve Wynn. I don't know if they're friends, but Steve Wynn had the same situation. Big name guys, Leslie Moonves, CBS, same deal. It's just not a good look, no doubt. And you know what's interesting though here too, Mike, is that I think that Vince is in a position where, as we know, he looks at the pro wrestling landscape. I'm the guy who created it. Without WWE, without the current state of WWE, it would not be where it is because of me. There's something to it for him to sell the company last year, for him to be the executive chair of TKO, and for him to give up that power. He probably knew this was coming down the pipeline, like you had mentioned there, especially this article with the Wall Street Journal. Had to have known, because there's no way he would have been able to hold on to that power there if all this did come out too. So I think he cashed in while he could last year.
Yeah.
And if they do kick him off the board, he's got nothing else to prove. He's fine. Just go off in the sunset or into the jail cell where you'll never see the sunset if he's found guilty. It's not, I think he cashed out, and I think he knew this was coming.
I mean, I would expect he would. I mean, a guy in that position, he probably has privy to a lot of information. My only hope is that there is some real accountability there. I think a lot of times in situations like this, it's sort of this surfacey accountability where we're gonna get an announcement, probably from TKO. You can see it already happening because it's just happened so many times in our lifetime already, unfortunately. So I don't have high hopes, but I do hope that there's some level of real accountability for the guy.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's fucking ridiculous.
I think someone's going to pay the price. Vince, or definitely Laurinaitis, might be the sacrificial lamb here if Vince is to get away with it. But yeah, I think he'll definitely have some sort of fine or something. Just disgusting. Like we mentioned, the other names are dirty old men, perverted. It's gross. It's wrong. It's just morally and civil. It's a crime. It's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, my only hope is I hope that this woman is okay. I mean, I keep going back to him. Like, if this was somebody we knew, right? Like, how I would want to kill the guy. It's just, how do you treat somebody so inhumanely like that? I can't.
Disgusting.
I just can't you can't fathom it, which I guess is a good thing for us, right? You can't fathom doing something like that. So it's just it's insane, but
very bizarre.
All right. I mean, people can continue to follow it online. There's going to be much more news about it.
Mike, it's just it's disappointing that it's a huge week in pro wrestling. Yeah. I know we're going to talk about Netflix. We touched on The Rock and the Royal Rumble, and this kind of just sours it going into the weekend for the Royal Rumble. I think it's always a very exciting pay-per-view premium live event as we get ready to kick off WrestleMania, and it's just it's very disturbing.
Right. So just our condolences to this woman and her family for what they're going through, and hopefully there's some sort of justice here. But
well, I mean, yeah, when you have a report like that, I mean, it will
Yeah.
be said in the court of law, no doubt. Vince's lawyers did come out with a statement today, and just to be fair, we have to be fair on both sides here. With the story that came out, and Vince's lawyers did release a statement saying that it was a lie. And today's complaint seeks to hold. Oh, excuse me. Hold on. Where is it right here? This lawsuit is replete with lies, obscene, made-up instances that never occurred, and a vindictive distortion of the truth. He will vigorously defend himself.
What a joke. But anyway,
well, I'm just,
listen, I get it. We got to be fair. We got to be unbiased.
Yeah, trying to be a journalist.
Come on.
No, you don't have to be unbiased. I'm just trying to give both sides here. But Vince, he got away with the steroid scandal 30 years ago.
Yeah. And this is the problem, though, Mike, is he gets away with it.
I know.
And the more you get away with it, the more he just he fucking wrote that statement himself. It's a lie. Don't worry about it. It's easy to just dismiss it, and there probably a lot of people believe it too.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know.
Well, Vince's lawyer Jerry McDevitt, I think he had a big part in one of those specials. There might have been, I don't think it was on Vice TV, but it was something with Vince, The 9 Lives of Him. A lot with Jerry McDevitt talking about Vince, and I would imagine that he is his lawyer on this one. He's got to be. He got him out of jail, did not send him get him to prison. So something here is going to be very interesting how this all plays out.
Well, anyway, we try to keep it kind of light here on this podcast, but
I felt story, Mike.
News was way too big.
Can't turn it off.
Kind of ignore it and just try to act like we're just talking about the Rumble. So. But this is all we're going to give Vince right now. But let's move on to.
Well, we've given him a lot over the years. I mean, gosh,
we gave him a lot.
Paycheck. Holy cow! Might have paid off his mortgage at Titan Towers, Mike.
I know. But in other news, time to Netflix and Raw. I kind of like this.
Pretty cool.
So starting January 2025, Raw exclusively streaming on Netflix. That's big news, Mike. What are you thinking about it? You said you had some thoughts.
Yeah, a lot of thoughts on this one. And right now we know that the Raw contract runs up with NBC USA in October. I'm very interested to see what they're going, and there's still time to work it out, obviously, but still curious to see what is going to happen to Raw in that 3-month period before they officially flip the switch to Netflix, January 2025. But this is huge for WWE. And I think WWE as well has always tried to be one step ahead. Look at the WWE Network, which was about 10 years ago, 2013, 2012, right? And they were smart. Not that the Netflix was not around, but now look at the boom period of these streaming services. And they were a step ahead of the game. Now it's on the Peacock Network, the WWE Network. I think this is a great play for them with Monday Night Raw for a couple of reasons. One, you don't have to worry about the domestic ratings anymore, where you're in the US 50 and maybe lower 48. How's that? Because we I don't know about Alaska and Hawaii, but definitely in the 48 here. There's always a big hit from Labor Day to maybe December on Monday nights, and that's because of Monday Night Football. And I think that is huge here with it going to Netflix, where Raw and WWE, for that matter, it's just international because people in Italy, people in Germany, there's some football interest there, but I don't think they're going to drop everything for a Monday Night Football game. Pro wrestling is a huge international draw, and they just set the bar so high for everyone else. And maybe this WWE Network, their whole library could go right over to Netflix. I'm sure the possibilities are endless. But the fact that they signed on with an international sort of, outlet right there, huge deal.
Big deal. Honestly, I know that there was always news over the last couple of years about Netflix and maybe they were on the decline, but there's a reason they were the godfather of streaming, and they just proved it right here. Anecdotally, when my wife and I have been traveling around, I keep the Netflix account open because you can access it anywhere. And I think that right there is exactly part of the accessibility that they're looking for. You could go all around. You could be traveling around. Even us as U.S. citizens going around, we won't miss Raw now, right?
Yep.
They're not having USA Network over in Italy, but they're going to have Netflix.
Exactly.
And we have access to watch it. And I think that's the amount of eyeballs that are going to be on this product now are beyond the ratings. Who gives a hell about the ratings? I don't think people, I think honestly haven't really cared about that for years. That's sort of been kind of a dying thing. But looking at this now, this is huge for them. And
huge.
You wonder what they're going to do with the library too. I would imagine that you probably want to keep things diversified. You don't want all your eggs in the one basket. Personally, I would love it to be on Netflix because I would imagine they'd organize it better than Peacock has ever organized it in their lives. But that's just a personal opinion because I hate Peacock. But
yeah, I hear you. Well, the other thing too here, Mike, the brainchild behind this is Nick Khan, and $5 billion is what Netflix is paying WWE. $5 billion, a 10-year deal. They have the option to pull out after 5 years. They're getting $1 billion a year from Netflix. Are you kidding me? Nick Khan is hands down the most influential hire in the history of WWE from a business standpoint.
I mean, remember how unpopular he was when he first came on board?
Well, yeah, there were a lot of things behind the scenes with him, yes, but he's made them money hand over fist. The other thing, too, to your point, Mike, what you just said there, Netflix, we could be anywhere in the world watching Monday Night Raw. Something to think about here. The premium live event schedule for WWE this year on the book so far. Now, the first one coming up this weekend, yes, it is in the state of Florida, United States, all right? But let's fast forward to February 24th of 2024. It's going to be in Perth, Australia, the Elimination Chamber. Obviously, WrestleMania, that will be in Philadelphia. I'm not going to rule out a WrestleMania international live event down the line. I think that could happen sooner than later,
Yeah, they're heading towards it already.
They really are.
Backlash is going to be in France.
France, yep.
They're really making a concerted effort to be in international markets.
Yep, Money in the Bank in Toronto, okay? And then Bash in Berlin, Germany, August 31st, similar to the Clash at the Castle a couple of years ago.
Yep.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6, Mike, outside the United States. In Toronto, I guess, okay, it's 20 miles from Detroit.
We'll count it.
Yeah, but it's international. It is.
Yeah.
It's North America. But you're right. They're on their way to more international stuff, and definitely a WrestleMania. I would not be shocked if it's in London the next couple of years or something.
Absolutely. I mean, I think when they were talking about it being on Prime, I think there was some news that Prime might have been like the front runners at the time. I was like, not really. This is just like a weird Mikey Cash thing. I'm just like not an Amazon guy. So like, you should have seen years ago when they were offering free trials. Like, I have never paid for Prime in my life, and I never plan to. So I was really nervous about this news that Raw might go to there because I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to break my streak. But so glad that we get to keep the Netflix going. You can get it anywhere. I think that's the beauty here. So Netflix is one of the best apps to have in terms of streaming. If you're traveling around, you can always access it. I mean, you try to get on Peacock in another country, not going to happen. Even some states you can't get on Peacock. So this has way more transferability, but
so much more.
Yeah, this is big news. Yeah, great
huge
news. We'll see where this goes. I wouldn't imagine that maybe they move some of the pay-per-views to Netflix. Who knows?
Oh, I would not be shocked. Yeah, I would not be shocked. And I mean, look what happened for the NFL wildcard game 2 weeks ago, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins. That game was exclusively on Peacock, right? And Peacock's numbers boomed with subscribers, and the game sucked, but people still wanted to watch. Yeah, but they wanted to watch it though. And it was the highest rated streaming game of all time in the NFL. You can't tell me that the NFL is not going to do that for another playoff game next year. And the fact that WWE is doing this here for Netflix, hands down, you could totally see something exclusively on there. I know WrestleMania, all your premium live events are exclusively on the Peacock, but everything could get moved to Netflix, hands down.
Yeah, definitely could happen. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. But
Oh yeah,
exciting news coming into next year.
But Nick Khan, my God, I'm telling you right now, Mike, he is Hulk Hogan and him, maybe the two most influential. Stone Cold Steve Austin, I put him right up there with the most influential people in WWE history.
You heard it here, folks.
It's a fact. He's made him so much money.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of money, this weekend, baby, Rumble.
Royal Rumble, baby.
Let's get to the main event. All right, let's get into some Rumble predictions here.
We had a lot to unpack in this one, huh?
We had so much to unpack. I'm glad we got to everything. So I'm looking at the match card here, and right now there might be another match probably added tonight on SmackDown, but as it stands right now, I only see 4 matches. It's the 2 Rumble matches, the United States Championship match with Logan Paul and Kevin Owens, and the Fatal 4-Way for the WWE Championship.
Yep.
What are you thinking?
Well, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with? With all due respect, Logan Paul, Kevin Owens. I'm not invested. I think.
No?
I'm all for the Royal Rumble. I'll watch it. I'm going to watch it, but I want to watch the Royal. Like that's my meat and potato. But let me rephrase that. I shouldn't say not invested. I am not like, oh, I got to watch this match. Got to watch it. No. I'm there for the Royal Rumble. I think Logan Paul retains. He's been a good U.S. champion. Give Kevin Owens that chase again. Maybe get a grudge match at the Elimination Chamber somehow. Have Owens work his way back to it. Owens will probably be in the Royal Rumble too. But I can't see. I think Logan Paul's been a good champion since the Survivor Series.
I agree. I think Paul probably needs this to kind of solidify the reign. He just signed a new contract. I think he's trying to maybe show more of a commitment to this. Even said something on social media to that effect. So I have a feeling that they're going to use this as you're going to have a tough opponent. What do you do in a big time match against somebody who isn't a high flyer and might just beat the shit out of you? So I think this will be everybody needs that kind of match to develop as a wrestler. And I think he's about to have his.
Yep. Totally. And it's they'll probably both be in the Royal Rumble match too, for that matter, Mike.
I can see it.
Yeah. They both. There haven't been that many announcing, official people that will be part of the match. So I think they'll definitely have a spot there too. So you probably see them twice in one night, a double feature, if you will.
Yeah. What about the Fatal 4-Way?
It's Roman.
Yeah,
it's just
it's a foregone conclusion, right? It feels like it, unless they really decide to surprise us.
Right. Yeah. I'll be shocked, and I think we all will be. Right. It's going to be Roman. Great for Randy Orton. Great spot for all those guys right there. My gosh, maybe the biggest payday of LA Knight's life right there on that one too. To be in the same ring with Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. I know he had a main event with him in Saudi Arabia, but still a big spot right here. So Roman Reigns wins. How does he do it? Maybe the help of Solo Sikoa, Paul Heyman, something. Maybe he does what he did at WrestleMania a couple of years ago, double pinning Edge and Daniel Bryan. Could have a triple pin, right? It's just, here's the question though. Now you have to look at the whole thing here with Roman Reigns going into WrestleMania. Is he going to lose the title at WrestleMania? And I know that's a good prequel here for who wins the men's Royal Rumble match. But if not, do you have him go for Hogan's record and break that? That's what all indications look like right now, breaking Hulk Hogan's record, which I think is stupid.
Well, and I think there's a couple of thoughts behind him potentially breaking Hogan's record. And I think in some ways that's also is related to some controversy on Hogan's part and maybe wanting to sort of move on from that in terms of the record books. Because Bruno Sammartino isn't exactly as problematic as Hulk Hogan nowadays. So I think maybe in their eyes, they're thinking, well, if we can get Roman in there, then, you know, we don't really have to mention Hogan that much more, even though just recently on Raw, they had the 40th anniversary of him winning the title. So I say all that, but then they just do shit like that. So who knows? But if they abide by that logic, then I kind of think, personally, I think they might be making a mistake, because then it's just like, so then you're just keeping it on them to keep like making this record rather than focusing on like what story kind of makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it was a big bummer that Cody didn't win. And part of that was they want him to reach the 1,000 days, right? So if you do this again with the same kind of logic of, well, we just want him to break the Hogan record, it's like, well, okay, now you're sort of sullying it, rather than it was just so good that you wanted to keep it going. It doesn't I feel he feels like he's winding down. It feels like it's reaching that point.
Yeah, they're on the back end of this.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, the Hogan thing, though, too, I mean, just to play devil's advocate with myself here, you know, I still don't agree with it for him to break he being Roman Reigns, to break Hulk Hogan's record there. But it's almost like you've come this far, you might as well just do it. You know, it'll be 4 years when he became champion, SummerSlam 2020. So, you know, carrying him through the pandemic, through the return of crowds, WrestleManias. But here's the other underlying thing too, Mike. Roman Reigns has not defended the title every month like Hogan did. I know that was the Jack Tunney rule. You had to do it every 30 days. And he was showcased more. Roman Reigns not. So to your point, Hogan with his, you know, he's got some skeletons in the closet too. We know about that. And baggage. But with WWE, maybe they just want to, get that off of their track record, Hogan, and just give it to Roman Reigns, where, hey, we built up this character. He's the greatest champion of all time, longest reigning one. So,
you know, I don't always buy into the whole, like, the argument that because he's part-time that somehow it's like less valid, because the business is much different now than it was 40 years ago. So I think, you know, the expectations of wrestlers now are much different than they were 40 years ago. So I think our expectations have to sort of shift with that. Because if I'm just holding them to that same standard, it's like, yeah, I get it. I get the Jack Tunney rule. And I part of me does believe that. I would love to see more title defenses. But at the same time, it's like, okay, this is what guys do now. I mean, we always complain about it, but it's been going on now for at least 10 years in WWE, where they've had these part-time champions.
Well, it happened with Brock Lesnar for a long time too.
Yeah, and everybody was up in arms. And what happened? We got over it.
We did.
Then The Rock. It happened with The Rock. We got over it. It'll be fine. We'll be fine.
It'll be fine. I think the thing with Reigns here is that the way he does it, you know, he doesn't win clean. He has the help of his, you know, his cousins.
He gets you pissed.
That's him. Yeah, there you go. And that's why people are more frustrated with it, like me.
Yeah. I like it though. That means he's doing his job.
He had that? Yeah, it's working, and WWE loves that too. That's what they want. I get it. I get what you're saying, that times have changed, and you know it has to be. You have to come around to it and so forth. But Roman Reigns is the undisputed WWE champion right now, and if you have that undisputed championship title around your waist, I think you should be giving whoever is next up on the roster a chance for the title, and they're not doing that. So,
yeah, no, I hear that.
Yeah.
So let's go.
So Reigns will win. Long answer short.
Yeah.
but that's the thing though, Mike. I mean, you have to look at it. You get a fantasy book out for WrestleMania now. Will he? So you think he wins at Mania?
So this is kind of getting into then who I think is going to win the Rumble.
Go to the Rumble. Go ahead. Let's go.
So for me, I'm not saying that I want this to happen, but the idea behind this is that right now in my booking mind, I can't see how else they get to this. Is I think Rock wins this Rumble.
The Rock. Wow.
I don't think he needs it. I don't think it's necessary. If it was up to me, I want Cody going back to back and just challenging him again.
Yep.
But I struggle to, I think it might be Rock, or it's either Rock wins or Cody wins, and then somehow Rock inserts himself. Either way, it's going to be like the WrestleMania 20 situation. Somebody wins, and then that other person continues to just jab and jab and jab and get into the match.
Kind of like, yeah, and also Mania 35, Becky and Charlotte and
Yeah,
Ronda Rousey. Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right. That
same
kind
deal
of
there.
thing where
Yep.
like there's the winner,
More recent.
and I don't know where that leaves Raw, but
Yeah.
I can't really.
I know.
Maybe they just have a tournament and then the vacated title is up for grabs at WrestleMania, which just that's not the worst thing to do.
Well, to your point there with The Rock, I think that was a major tease on the Raw on New Year's Day when, he made the, do I sit at the bar? Do I sit at a wherever else, or do I sit at the head of the table? And then boom, the place was like, holy cow. So a lot right there, just a major promo. With that promo, it doesn't surprise me. It would not shock me in at least one bit that The Rock would win the Royal Rumble. Definitely be a part of it. But if he is not even a part of the Royal Rumble, and if he's not even going to win it, I could see him and Roman having a match in Australia next month, because I think The Rock sort of did indicate somewhere that they could take that to an international stage, and it makes sense.
Sure.
It makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
Now you could do it at WrestleMania. There's no hiding behind that, but I think they could really make it explode in Australia.
Yeah. I mean, they could do something. I'm just like spitballing here, so sorry, Mike. But maybe he does something where either Rock or Cody win, and the other one injects himself into the match. Cody wins this triple threat.
Yeah,
and he pins Rock, but he doesn't pin Roman. So then that leaves open the door for Cody and Roman to continue what they got going on. But then I don't know what that does for Rock and Roman. So there's always going to be some sort of like trade-off of like what makes sense and what.
Yeah, some trade-off.
I don't know.
But also, here's the other thing too, is that I know previously that these shows, in Australia, Saudi Arabia, it's different time zone, no hiding behind that.
Yeah.
And it's definitely been difficult to, kind of before they're Friday afternoons, Saturday afternoons. Some of them still will be, no hiding. It's how it's going to have to be. But I think they can make a real splash if The Rock and Roman Reigns were to be a part of the Australia show, and that would really, put down the footprint from WWE. Hey, we're giving you a main event match here. It might not be at WrestleMania, but it's in Australia, and you all should be watching this. It's no longer the show where, whatever, I'll get around to it when I can. This is going to be a must-watch premium live event. So that's where I could see The Rock and Roman having a feud in Australia.
That could totally happen. I agree with you on that one. That it wouldn't surprise me if that did in fact end up happening. But I'm going to stick by my pick. I'm going to say I think
stand with The Rock.
I think The Rock may win.
All right,
but there's a few other good choices out there too. I mean, you got Drew McIntyre. I know that he's kind of a sleeper pick, but he's had like a decent little run recently. I like what he's been doing with his character.
Yeah,
obviously really. Cody, Punk. I mean, we just forgot about CM Punk, and Rock came back and just forgot about everybody.
Well,
but,
and Mike, it just I know I don't know how much you want to read into it too, but the betting standpoint, I'm looking at Bet Online at BetOnline_AG on Twitter. And the odds is that CM Punk is the favorite. So they're all plus, but CM Punk is plus 150. So that's the best odds for him to win. Then you have Cody at 275, Gunther at 300, Randy Orton at 600, The Rock and LA Knight each at 700.
All right.
So
the opportunity to maybe make some money this weekend, guys. So get out there.
You could, but if you want to read into the bet there, that's why I'm picking CM Punk.
All right. You go.
I don't like him.
Okay.
I've been very open about not liking the guy. I don't care for him. I think he's most overrated. He's my pick to win because what has he done? You know what it is, Mike? I look at CM Punk as to kind of like not exactly where Cody Rhodes was at this time a year ago, because Cody Rhodes debuted at WrestleMania, had a good little run there up until his injury. CM Punk hasn't been in the ring since. Well, I know he had the promo with Cody. That was a great promo too, by the way. But he has not had a match with anybody, so he'll be in the Royal Rumble, and I think this is his chance to make a real splash. And from a business standpoint, that's what this whole show today, I'm getting out of it today, is business related. That's a business sticking point from WWE to AEW. Yeah. Maybe the two final guys would be CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. Yeah,
that would be very interesting.
Yeah, I think that's just, it's got it written all over it. Those two guys would finish the Royal Rumble match, and CM Punk gets the victory and claims his spot for WrestleMania.
Well, either way, I don't really care. I just want them to come out at the numbers that I picked in our Royal Rumble pool. Okay, that's all I care about.
But here's the other thing too. If with CM Punk, it doesn't mean he has to go for Roman Reigns. He could go right for Seth Rollins, because there's some real heat there. A little bit.
Well, hopefully Rollins is
okay to go. He said it. He said, "I'll see you Mania." Yeah. So
we'll see.
If that's the case, if he goes for Rollins, then Cody could go right for Roman.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, time will tell. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We're recording this Friday afternoon, so
you're picking The Rock.
I'm picking The Rock. What about you?
What number entrant would you have The Rock at? If you're picking it out.
If I want him to look good, it's towards the end. I'd say 26 or 27. I don't want him doing the 30, because I feel like people will just shit all over that. But
and that's what Cody did last year.
Gives him some time. Yeah.
Yeah. Cody came in at 30 and won. I mean, look at Gunther last year. He was number 1.
Absolute powerhouse.
Yeah, he was all the way to the end there. Marathon, man. CM Punk, I'd probably put him like 16, 17, middle of the pack. Something like that.
Yeah. He's got a little bit more stamina, I think.
And then, he's going to earn the, I guess you could say, all the fans there to, not that he's not over, he is, but really to get excited, build him up, maybe make an elimination or two, and then have
from
that
a performance standpoint.
Just get everyone excited.
The crowd.
Yeah,
I get that.
Once that static hits right there in the Videotron, and then the lightning bolt too, place is going to explode. We know that. So I'd have to say CM Punk.
All right. Well, let's jump. Should we jump to the Women's Rumble?
Absolutely.
I don't want to ignore that, because a lot of good stuff happened in there too.
Yeah.
Good builds. I mean, you got Rhea Ripley waiting in the wings. I mean, I feel like whoever it is, I would have them main event one of the nights. I think it's been a couple of years now. We haven't had any women's match main event, anything. So I think since Sasha and Bianca a couple of years ago, about 3 years ago. So it's been 3 years since we've had one of the nights be main evented by a women's match. I think it's time. I think if you're going to do it with anybody, you could do it with maybe Bianca and Rhea, Becky and Rhea. I think those are the two big ones that people are going to pay for.
Well, Becky indicated to us here, Mike, on Strutting from Gorilla.
That is true.
That she wants Rhea Ripley. Yeah, she said it.
That's true.
So there you go. She told us straight up. We got that on record. It's available.
We have that on record. Go into the archives. Listen to that episode, folks. It's a great episode.
December 2023.
That's right, baby. And so, what are you thinking about this Women's Rumble? You think we're going to have any surprises?
Yeah, Jade Cargill.
Okay.
I think she makes her debut. That's my unofficial. Well, yeah, that is my surprise. I think she would be the great spot to debut at. She's ready to go, so it makes sense for her to come in here and make a splash and make a good little run. I don't think she wins, but Mike,
stranger things.
I'm not saying her. I'm having a hard time with either Becky Lynch or Bayley to win. One of the two. Those are my two favorites. So I'm going to go Becky Lynch, the easy way out. Then she can go right for Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. And the Ripley-Charlotte match last year at WrestleMania, that could have been main event at night one. It really could have been.
It should have been.
Yeah.
It really
good.
good.
I know a lot of people say that that match got lost in the shuffle because of the tag team match, which was very good.
Mhm.
I disagree. I think that was a very good match, the women's match, and it did not get
Mhm.
lost in the shuffle. And it was match of the year in my book. It was.
I
Um,
just rewatched it a couple of weeks ago, right before we
yeah,
did our year in review episode, and
wasn't it great?
it holds up, man. It holds up.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's classic. So I'd have to say Becky Lynch will win, and she has a title shot against Rhea Ripley. But you
All
know,
right.
yeah, that's what I'm going to go there. How about you,
I'm gonna go Bailey. As much as I love
Bailey?
Becky, Becky, I want you to come back on, but I'm gonna pick Bailey. Okay.
We can try to make that happen.
So that'd be great. Let's get Bailey on. Come on, Bailey.
Sure.
Feel free to come in. Be a role model for us. Okay.
You want a hug?
Ding dong. Hello. We're a couple of idiots. Just tell us what's going on.
Oh yeah, she
But,
will.
yeah. So I feel like Bailey's due. I feel like it's one of those things. There's something about Bailey that I have this weird, like, this sort of connection to like Kofi Mania a couple of years ago. It's
Yep.
like she's been in this for a long time, and she's of the four horsewomen, she's sort of the unsung hero of the four.
Yep.
The other three tend to get a lot of the accolades.
Oh yeah.
And Bailey's been holding it down for years. So
Yeah.
I think hopefully, you know, they give her due, and even if that leads to a title match with her and Io Sky, maybe she's not coming for Rhea, but maybe she comes for Io. I could totally see that happening, and that would be a phenomenal match. Io Sky is an incredible women's wrestler. Watch her stuff down in NXT. It's unreal, and she's only gotten better since she got to the main roster.
Yes, she has. She has. I agree. Yeah, no, Bailey definitely. To your point there, Mike, I just want to double check there on the women's Royal Rumble. Okay, so I am correct. All right, yeah. Sasha Banks never won the women's Royal Rumble.
Nope.
Charlotte Flair and Becky both did.
Mhm.
Okay. So yes, and Sasha Banks definitely pushed her stardom, had some time in Hollywood. It sounds like her negotiations with WWE did not go well. There was a report that came out today, actually, when we're taping on Friday, January 26th. She was in Boston today and not having a good sort of, I guess you could say, contract negotiation with WWE again. So it looks like that she might be going to AEW.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll find
I'll
out.
believe it when she shows up. I gotta
Oh
just
yeah,
see. Yeah.
yeah. No,
You,
it'll
you
be.
know how it is in wrestling.
Oh yeah, you don't know till it happens. Um, so I don't know. I mean, and then she teased being in Boston, when the live event was here
Mhm.
right after Christmas. You
Yeah.
know,
During the holiday
so exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with her being
Mhm.
best friends with Bailey.
Yeah.
But Banks though definitely did go on to have a good, you know, uh, outside wrestling sort of thing. And Bailey definitely is the one that's most underrated, underappreciated of the
Yeah.
four horsewomen. So she does deserve the spot. She really does.
No, I agree. I think she totally does. And that's my hope. You know, I love Becky, and I think it'll only just add to the legacy that she's already built for herself.
Yep.
I do think that this could be a really great moment for Bailey though in her career, because I don't know what it is, but I have this like weird sense that she's not going to be around in WWE much longer. I feel like she might go the way of Mercedes and kind of go off and try some things, because she was at Hard to Kill a couple of just
Oh
last
yes,
week. She was there with Mercedes, Incognito, Support, and Trinity, who, hey, Trinity might be coming back at the Rumble too. My money is on a surprise entrant there.
I saw that.
I know she just lost the Knockouts title to Jordan Grace in a really great match. So I don't know. I think Bailey could thrive pretty much anywhere. I think she's much like Mercedes in that way. They both have incredible charisma. They're both really great in the ring, and so I mean, I'm just like making things up here, but I have no no basis that Bailey is leaving, so I haven't heard anything. But
I think
maybe she would. Maybe she would.
Yeah, and here, let me just get my story correct here on the report from PW Insider on Mercedes. Spotted in Boston today. Zero discussion about her in WWE circles as of late. Some in WWE believe that she is heading to AEW. Some are reportedly taking, quote, I won't believe she's not returning until she's somewhere else. Kind of like what you said, Mike.
Yeah.
And Sean Rass Sapp of Fightful reported today that he asked a WWE source this weekend who had been working on the Rumble about the possibility of Mercedes showing up. Quote, well, we're not really interested in contract tampering with her, so I doubt it.
Okay.
So she ain't showing up. She's done.
All right. All right.
So, but you know what? If Bailey is to win, that's 3 out of 4 of the horsewomen there to do it, and it makes sense. And she definitely deserves that spot.
Yeah. This is going to be a fun Rumble for sure. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Getting excited. Yeah,
I'm ready to go.
You know, and I do think that 2024 is the year that Roman Reigns will lose the title. Question is when, and like we talked about, it may not be at WrestleMania, everybody. So brace yourself once again.
May not be the storyline ending you all want.
Nope.
Well,
someone else may have to wait to finish the story.
Yeah. Well, Mike, any final thoughts?
That went way over your head. Do you hear what I said? Someone else may have to wait to finish the story.
Oh God!
See what I did there? Yeah, it's not going to happen. I don't think it is. The way we're going here. Yeah, but we'll see. No, I'm very excited for the Royal Rumble. It's always a good show. I'm bummed I can't watch it live, but I'll be watching it on tape delay and definitely reading all the updates. It's hard to hide from live stuff, Mike. A lot of people I've seen, they're like, if they can't watch live, don't tell me anything. You can't keep a secret in 2024. It's not going to happen. So be watching the live updates and looking forward to it. And should be a good show. Here we go.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. I'm looking forward to it. Having a little Rumble party of my own this weekend, so should be a really fun time.
I wish I could have been there, Mike. And I appreciate
we tried.
I know, and I appreciate that. It's very nice of you.
So, but listen, this was a great episode. Thank you all for listening. We really appreciate the support. Mike, glad that you could be here, man. I'm glad the schedules worked out and we were able to do this. My
guys, pleasure and an honor.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you to all the listeners out there. Continue to keep an eye on your feeds. We got more stuff coming your way. And until the next episode, keep on strutting, jabronis.